Hello folks, Lakey Bloke here. How are we? We alright? Time for another Lakey Bloke review. In the conservatory. It's bloody cold out here though, but there's more light out here, so it's nice and easy and simple. This time around we're going to be reviewing my own homebrew. This one is the Lakey Bloke's Cider, made with White Labs WLP775 Yeast, liquid yeast strain. Now, in my opinion, from all of the yeasts I've tried making ciders over the last 6 to 10 months or so, maybe a bit longer, it's the best one, best of the bunch. It's an amazing flavour, but we'll go into that in a second when I open this bottle. Now, this bottle has been sitting in the shed for, oh God, it's been out there for at least 6 months now. Maybe 5. So it's got some haze in there because it's very cold out in the shed. But let's give it an open. There we go. Now, I looked out the window there, you probably just noticed, because my back garden backs onto a road that is raised just slightly higher than this road here that we're in, which means that people walking around up there can see into our garden. So they're probably looking over here now, looking at me talk to myself, which is probably a little bit worrying for them. So here's the cider. Give it a pour. Being careful, of course, to keep as much yeast as we can in the bottle. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because what I'm going to do, folks, let me just put this down for a second there. With this yeast at the bottom here, and there's a fair amount of it in there, I've got to grind it up on a stir plate. Yeah, they're going to put it into another cider. So here we are, here's the cider. Not massively carbonated, but it's carbonated enough. The smell is really aptly. There's a little bit of the yeast smell in there, but with this particular yeast it's not unpleasant at all. Let's give it a taste. Oh my. I'm a happy person. Now, that is as smooth as a baby's bum, folks. There's no sharp aftertaste that you get. Again, forgive the sound of the fridge kicking in there. The temperature controllers, obviously making sure the lager is being kept at the right temperature. But we're not here to talk about the lager, we're here to talk about this Lakey Bloke cider. Now, the WLP775 strain, what that does is it rounds off the sharpness that you get in a turbo cider. You don't get that with the WLP775 strain. That sharpness, that homebrew sharpness that you get with a cider, goes away completely. No back sweetening, none of that. Cobblers, don't need that. This does it all. It's an amazing yeast strain, it really is, guys. I recommend you give it a go. I'm going to have to give myself a 7 out of 10 for this particular brew. Now, that is as good as some commercial ciders. Obviously, you can't compare a commercial cider to a homebrew. They're both completely different kettles of fish. However, I prefer this over some of the shop-bought ciders, like Strongbow, because of the sweetness that the WLP775 is. A magical strain. I don't know what it does, but you can't produce a bad cider with it. It seems to round off the sharpness in the brews, brings out the flavour of the apples, gives it a bit more of a body as well, so you don't get a thin cider. And all that's in this particular cider, folks, this one here, there it is, all that's in that particular cider is Tesco's value juice. That's it. 23 litres of Tesco's value juice. I didn't put anything else in there. I just put in 23 litres Tesco value juice with some of that liquid yeast. And unfortunately, I didn't make a note of how strong it is. I suspect it's probably between 4.5 to 5%. You know, usually apple juices on their own, without any additional sugars, produce around about 4.5% brew. That's enough for me, certainly. Session, blimey. Now I've got the flavour of this, I just want some more. It's that good, folks. I'm going to have to drink it all now, and it's all your fault. I hope you feel good about yourselves. It's not your fault, it's mine. I just after an excuse to have a beer. I shouldn't say beer, should I? I should say cider. So, it's a cloudy brew, but then, you know, with Tesco's value, you expect that. It's not the cleanest of apple juices. You could probably clear that down some if you added some pectolase, but it's all about the taste, folks. I like a good look inside, and that looks to me like some sort of scrumpy, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be clear. It can be cloudy. It's absolutely fine for me. It's smooth. It's not sweet. It's a medium dry, but there is a subtle hint of sweetness in there. And my God, it's a beautiful, beautiful yeast to make ciders with. Do yourself a favour. They're about anywhere between $5.99 to $6.99, these liquid yeasts, which in my opinion is quite expensive, which is why we grow them up. So in the next video, folks, I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, I know other people on BrewTube have done loads of videos on how to do your own yeast, how to cultivate yeast. So I'm going to do it as well, just to add to those millions of yeast starter type things. It's going to be from this. Yeah. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 3 of those to put into a sterilised sort of kilner jar type thing. With my yeast plate, I'm going to grow that up over about a week or so, and we'll just throw it into another cider. Cheers guys, look forward to that one. See you later.